Hey everybody, what's going on? My name's Lloyd. This week we did two readings. John Stuart Mill on Liberty, and the other one was a Reddish theory in which he wrote about, mostly importantly, was individual self-realization. I'll start with the John Stuart Mill one because that one to me was the most simple and the most easiest one to understand because he really only talked about two two things really about the liberty, and he also talked about the authority also, which kind of both go hand in hand. And he said in the beginning of the chapter one introductory, the nature and limits of power which can be legitimately exercised by society over an individual is was the base question. So that right there kind of caught me and made me think about the limits that people do have when they are in power, which is almost limitless. Excuse me, because as we see today, like the government and everything, they're shut down and they almost limit everything that we do from from what we can have, what we can have, things we can and what we can't do. But some things are needed. Checks and balances are needed. And when he talked about liberty, he said, by liberty was meant protection against the tyranny of the political rulers. The rulers were conceived, except in some of the popular governments in Greece, as in a necessarily antagonistic position to the people whom they ruled. So when everybody thought about liberty, it was thought for have like individual liberty and liberty as a people against people that were ruling over them. Just like in America, when people first colonized America, they asked for liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and everybody wants their own liberty, but at the same time, people also want to have an authority figure or somebody that controls things also, because if people do have liberty and they can do whatever they want to, there's always going to be somebody that's going to come in there and it's like, hey, we need some structure. We need like things we can and can't do, or else everybody's going to run amok or around this place. And then he went down to say the power was regarded necessary, but also as highly dangerous as a weapon which they would attempt to use against their subjects, no less than against external enemies. Power is also very dangerous. That's why I also always see people say, "Oh, like people are on like a power trip," which means like they just take their power and they just abuse it. And if we gave, and Miller's saying, if we give people power over us, that's just falling right into that's like them just we just giving them power to do whatever they want to and say what they want to and almost turn it into like a dictatorship kind of if the people let it get there. If people don't, if people let me see how I can put this. It's almost like if we fight for liberty and we get our liberty, but then we also want a power structure and we give the people too much power and too much structure, then we lose our liberty. It has to be an even balance of both because if you give too much power, you ain't gonna have no liberty. If you fight for too much liberty, then you're gonna want power on top of it because there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna want something different, and it's always gonna be somebody that's or a group of people that are going to want structure. So I think John Stuart Mill was a really good read, and it made you think about a lot of things like this because it makes you think about stuff you already know, like you're in the back of your mind, you're already thinking about it, like yeah, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and all that. Like yeah, we fight for our liberty, but then with the power part, you also you never think like oh we give people power, like we vote every 4 years or every year to have somebody in power like over us. We say it's our representative, but really we're giving them power to speak for us, which isn't very good when you think about the bigger picture. And then with Reddish, I really like the Reddish read more than the Mill read, like, because of his theory. Quote: Reddish's theory is one true value which I have labeled self-realization. This term has been chosen largely of its ambiguity. It can be interpreted to refer either to development of individuals' powers and abilities, and individual realizes here her full potential, or the individual's control of his or her own destiny through making life affecting decisions. And Reddish also like kind of says like it's you have to speak for yourself. Like everybody should be able to speak. Everybody should have the freedom of speech and say whatever they want without without being scared or what they want to say, and we have to take advantage of that. America, we have to take advantage of that because everybody needs to be able to speak their mind and say what they want because not any country in the world really has that. If you say something in Africa against the governments, they'll find you and probably kill you. Same with South America. I don't know about Mexico. Maybe Mexico. Europe is kind of iffy, like because they're kind of like America. We based ourselves off of Europe, so and like that in Asia, maybe may disappear too. But like in America, you can say whatever you want to, unless it's like enticing riots and violence and all that stuff. But at the same time, there also needs to be people that we do give the power to speak for us. They need to be able to. They need to be able. Need to be enlightened and be talk about things that we all feel strongly about. We can't just have anybody up there just blabbering on about stuff that has no meaning about it. And if we give people too much freedom of speech, it can also like misconstrue what it means because people use freedom of speech like freedom of speech. I can do this, I can do that, I can wear whatever I want, everything like that. But I feel like we need to get more closed down to what freedom of speech really is. Freedom of speech is really just saying whatever you want without causing violence or anything like that. Excuse me. But, excuse me again, I'm sorry. But I think that if we do give people like more freedom of speech, as Reddish was saying, in my opinion, that we need to have somebody when you are feeling very strongly about freedom of speech and you really, really, really have something to say, then whatever you say, it needs to be well thought out, well planned, and it needs to be something that everybody feels strongly about and you have your thoughts together because you can't get up there just freestyling it and go off the top of your head because nobody will grasp that and hold on to it because it has to be able to make people think. It has to make people agree with you and feel strongly about like, yeah, like I totally agree with this guy. I know exactly what he's talking about. And it also makes you think about certain things. Also has to make you be like, hey, I never thought about that, but now that he's said it in words that I've never heard, in a way that I've never heard it presented, the message I've never heard presented in a certain way, and that makes people thinking like, yeah, this is enlightening, and we like this person, we need them, and we need to make them kind of like a speaker for us. But I really like the Reddish and the Mill Reads. I probably would lean more towards Reddish because it gives everybody the freedom to say with it. He talks about everybody having like their own opinion and everything like that, and speaking your mind, and we do need people that can speak up for America's people besides the people in power. That's why I think it's important that if there is like a rally for like to support a certain cause, we should be there. And if it is something you like, then support it. So this is the week 2 discussion video. I hope you guys like it. Peace.